Hey, I'm Jusko from ProudMoney.com. In this video, we are going to look at the easiest approval credit cards on the market today. Before we do that, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not already. And if you have already, I thank you for doing so. So it's been a couple of years since we have tackled this topic, easiest approval credit cards that also have no annual fee and are unsecured. We are going to look at cards from the big banks and then other card issuers that have a national footprint. So all of these cards will be ones that you could potentially get your hands on regardless of where you are in the country. Things we are not looking at, the smaller community banks, smaller credit unions that have limited memberships. We are not going to look at secured credit cards that require a security deposit in order to get them. Those cards are going to be easier. They can be a good idea, but we're not looking at them here. And then we also are not going to look at those sort of bottom feeder unsecured cards that have big annual fees up front, have very small credit limits, and then have big interest rates, all of that kind of stuff. What you want is to see the easiest approval credit cards that you might actually want, and that's what we're going to talk about. The number one card that meets all those criteria, the Capital One Platinum card. It has no annual fee, it has no rewards, it has an interest rate that's really not all that great. However, it is probably going to be the easiest card to be approved for from any major credit card issuer. Now, if you are totally new to credit, I would not say that you should necessarily start here. You might be able to do better with one of the other cards that we are going to talk about. You might get approved for them. The Capital One Platinum is almost more for people that have had some credit problems in the past and are clawing their way back up the ladder again. And oftentimes the Capital One Platinum is the card that people have a fondness for if they have had to rebuild their credit because it is the card that they could get approved for when no one else would give them an unsecured credit card. So new to credit, not necessarily a great choice, but if you're someone rebuilding, this is probably your easiest approval option from a major lender. Number two, the Walmart MasterCard, which is also issued by Capital One. If you are a frequent Walmart shopper, this is something that would interest you, not only for what it gives you, but also for the fact that the approval is probably going to be easier than with a lot of other credit cards. The rewards are Walmart based, although not entirely. If you qualify for the MasterCard, you can use it wherever MasterCard is accepted. You should know, however, that there is the possibility that when you apply for this card, you could be rejected for the MasterCard, but then be issued the Walmart credit card that is only good at Walmart stores and on Walmart.com. So there is a possibility you'd be looking for the MasterCard and get approved for the other. But regardless of any of that, the approval chances here, pretty good. Number three, the Discover It Cashback Credit Card, no annual fee. It gives you 5% cash back on purchases in certain purchasing categories that change each calendar quarter. All other purchases with the card are going to give you 1% cash back. Discover, as a lender, known to be a little more lenient in terms of approvals, especially for people that don't necessarily have any credit history or have very little credit history. So Discover is often going to be the first credit card that a lot of people get. Number four, Navy Federal Credit Union Go Rewards card. Now, in order to get this card, you would have to be a member of Navy Federal Credit Union, which means you would have to be current or former military or somehow related to somebody that was. So not everyone can get their hands on this, but if you can become a member of Navy Federal, all of their credit cards are going to be easier probably than a lot of other issuers out there, and this is maybe the easiest of them, the Go Rewards card, which is going to give you 3 points per dollar on your restaurant purchases, 2 points per dollar on gas purchases, 1 point per dollar on everything else without an annual fee. So a pretty nice card, and then Navy Federal has a lot of other cards that are pretty good too if you can qualify for membership. Number five, the Apple Card, no annual fee card issued by Goldman Sachs. It is a MasterCard, so you can use it anywhere the MasterCard is accepted, including at Apple, where you will get 3% cash back on Apple purchases. You get 2% cash back on Apple Pay purchases, 1% cash back on all physical card purchases. Now, when this card rolled out, most people probably thought this was going to be a little bit of a higher end card that you would have to have a very high credit score to qualify for, but that has not necessarily been the case. A lot of people with lower credit scores have been approved, and there even is a program called Path to Apple Card that some people are invited to if they get rejected initially, where basically Goldman Sachs kind of watches them for a few months to make sure that all of their payments are being made on time on other loans or cards that they have, and then they could be invited back to apply for the Apple Card again. So a decent credit card and more open to approving people with lower credit scores than you might think. Number 6, the Chase Slate Edge, no annual fee. This is sort of the entry-level Chase credit card, no rewards to speak of. It does have a nice 0% offer on purchases and balance transfers, not a whole lot to recommend it after that. However, if you look at the language around this card, they talk about the possibility of having a credit line increase after 6 months. And anytime you see that, you know that means that they are expecting to give sort of a small credit line to begin with and then maybe increase it over time. And that means that they're sort of focusing on people that either don't have a credit history or maybe have had a little bit of problems in the past. Give them a small credit line, see how they do before they increase it. So this isn't necessarily a super desirable card, but if you're having trouble getting approved elsewhere, maybe this is a card you would consider. Number 7 is the Pedal card, and this is a little unfair because it's actually sort of like two cards. There's Pedal 1 and Pedal 2. Pedal 1, more for people that have had maybe some credit problems in the past. It is going to be more bare bones, where Pedal 2 is going to be for people that don't have a credit history but are trying to build credit for the first time, and it is going to be a little more generous in terms of giving you some rewards. Number 8, Capital One Quicksilver Rewards Card, no annual fee, 1.5% cash back on all of the purchases that you make with the card. This is a card that some people might get as their first credit card ever, or maybe their second or third credit card if they've had just sort of bare bones credit cards without rewards up to that point. Now be aware that when you apply for this card, there is also a Capital One Quicksilver One card, and if your credit history is not good enough to qualify for this card, there is the possibility that they would offer you that card, which is just the same as the Capital One Quicksilver, except for the fact that it has a $39 annual fee. So then you would have to decide if you want to pay that annual fee or not. Number 9, American Express Cash Magnet, no annual fee, 1.5% cash back on all of the purchases that you make with this card. If that sounds familiar, it's essentially what you would get with the Capital One Quicksilver card that I just talked about. Maybe not quite as easy to get your hands on as the Capital One Quicksilver, but still in today's market, any card that is offering you 1.5% cash back across the board is going to be on the easier end of the rewards spectrum because there are now cards out there that are offering you even more. So the Cash Magnet fits in right about here. Number 10, also from American Express, it is the Amex Everyday card. This is sort of the entry-level card in the American Express membership rewards program. It's going to give you 2 points per dollar on grocery purchases at U.S. supermarkets on up to $6,000 per year. Into those purchases, all other purchases you make with the card are going to get you 1 point per dollar in the membership rewards program. Number 11, Bank of America Unlimited Cash Rewards Card, no annual fee, 1.5% cash back on all of the purchases that you make with this card. Like I said about the Capital One Quicksilver and the American Express Cash Magnet, that 1.5%, not a terrible reward, but in today's market, it is not top of the line either. So these cards may be a little easier to get approved for than some of the better rewards cards out there. Number 12, Citi Rewards Plus Card, no annual fee, get 2 points per dollar on supermarket purchases, 2 points per dollar on gas station purchases, 1 point per dollar on everything else. And then there also are some ways to get a little bit more on top of those rewards that I just said. So you'll want to look at the details of that card. Probably the easiest of the Citi cards that have any rewards to get your hands on. Number 13, the Capital One Venture One Rewards Card, no annual fee. You're going to get 1.25 miles, what you could think of as points in the Capital One travel program. While Capital One has beefed up their travel program, and I think they have made it a lot better, still that 1.25 miles per dollar is unlikely to be worth more than what you might get from the Quicksilver card, where you get 1.5% cash back. So I don't know that I would think this card is any better than that one for most people, but some people feel like they can get a lot of value out of those points, so maybe this is a card you would take a look at. Number 14, the PayPal Cashback MasterCard, no annual fee card that gives you 2% cash back on all of the purchases that you make with the card. Now the 2% does go into your PayPal account, but it's easy enough to get out of your PayPal account if you want to. This is probably the easiest of the 2% flat cashback cards out there on the market to be approved for. It is issued by Synchrony Bank or in partnership with Synchrony Bank, and Synchrony is known to be a little more lenient in terms of the credit scores that it requires to get its cards. So this is probably your easiest way to get your hand on a 2% card. And then finally, number 15, I'm going to bunch together the two Chase Freedom cards, the Chase Freedom Unlimited and the Chase Freedom Flex, both good, no annual fee cards. I wouldn't necessarily say these cards are easy approval for everyone, but they are easier approval than a lot of Chase cards out there, and maybe easier approval than a lot of, pretty good reward cards that are out there on the market. However, what that might mean, if you don't have much of a credit history, or if you don't have a very good credit history, maybe you get approved approved, but you get a very small credit line to start out with. So you could get approved for either of these cards with a credit line as low as $500. So for some people, that might not feel like very much. If that seems like, plenty for you and your credit score is not terrible, well, then maybe you could qualify for one of these cards. And then there are a handful of other cards that I would think of as sort of honorable mention cards, ones that don't quite fit on this list for one reason or another. The first two I'm thinking of are the Tomo card and the Jasper MasterCard. These are cards that would be easier approval if you don't have any credit history at all, because that's sort of who they are looking for. But if you have some credit history and it's not so good, well, then you're not going to get an easy approval probably from those companies. In terms of the bigger credit card issuers, American Express's Blue Cash Every Day is a no annual fee card that I think is not super easy approval, but you might be able to get your hands on with around a 700 credit score. The Bank of America Customized Cash Rewards card, the Bank of America Travel Rewards card, same kind of thing, not super easy, but if you're around a 700 credit score, you might have a shot at those. And then all of this is sort of, a rule of thumb in terms of what your chances are of approval. Some of them are known to be easier than others, but your circumstance, your personal circumstance is always going to come into play. It's not only going to be about your credit score. Your income is going to come into play. How many credit cards you have gotten in the recent past, and a host of other factors could mean that you get approved for something that seems like it would be more difficult to be approved for, or you don't get approved for something that seems like it would be easier to be approved for. It is all going to depend on your personal circumstances. All right, that is it. I would love to hear your questions, your comments, your thoughts on cards I am missing in that comments section below. Otherwise, I thank you for watching. And as always, please go to proudmoney.com, where we do credit card reviews. We talk personal finance. We talk deals and all sorts of other fun stuff too. If you don't feel like going to the website, why don't you check out this video?